I'm kind of waiting.
What we got right here? What we drinking?
That's some Don Julio, man. Cheers.
Cheers, yes, sir. Another episode.
Another episode. This is what we on, number 4. Get the kinks out.
Loosen up.
Yeah. Okay, we back. Idolatry in real time, episode 4. You already know who it is. It's JD, my man, the real pro Don, and we just going by our handles, man. Ain't nothing real major. If you 4 episodes in, you already know what we about. You already know that this is Idolatry in real time, the podcast. And we do it live on set, man. Check the ambiance. It's courtesy of Real Pro Photo, Real Pro Production, the
Vortex
Real Don.
Productions.
I mean, what else? What other titles you want to put on it, man? It's all real.
It's just real. We're just keeping it real. If you want it real, we'll make it real.
Hey, that's the only way to be. I think anytime it's artificial, we don't speak on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how you been feeling? How your week been, man?
Week's been pretty good, man. Like I said, man, every day, every week, like I said last podcast, I get a lot accomplished. I woke up on the right side of the bed.
Well, I sleep on the left side.
And I got off on the left side. But yeah, it was lovely, man. I hope everybody else had a wonderful weekend as I did, even with everything that's going on right now.
Right.
With me, I don't know about everybody else, but I look past all of that.
Right.
And I just keep it moving. I'm still in my good health and haven't coughed, sneezed, did whatever. But hey,
that's a plus. Yeah, I was about to say, man, health is your first key to wealth. I mean, your wealth is your health. To be walking amongst the living, as far as we know it. You know what I'm saying? To be walking amongst those who are alive and woke, because
a lot of people ain't woke.
Nah, but it's weird that when you die, you go to a wake. I always wanted that. Maybe death is the first step to being woke. Maybe that next dimension that you're going into is your awakening.
But what's crazy is like death is like you're going to sleep, but you're never waking up. Like, what does that feel like?
Nah, I said I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. But when you sleep, I feel more alive.
But when you were born, you weren't asleep.
That's my thing. You know what get me, man, is like, so if your origin is, your birth, is it just your origin to life, or is that your original, or where did you already exist and you just came in that form?
I think like I said before, we're just an energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how people say, you're having an out-of-body experience?
Right.
I think we're here on Earth having a human body experience. And
that's crazy.
I honestly think that, we are. This is a vessel.
Right.
So with that being said, definitely get in tune with yourself, understand how the universe operates.
Right.
Energy doesn't die. So with you're having a human body experience, take care of your vessel.
Agree.
And have fun with it.
Agree. I think that's pretty much. I was speaking about. I don't know if you remember the Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And remember how whenever they wanted to become something bigger than what they were, the vessel just got bigger. But it was them inside of what they wanted to be operating, and it even got bigger when they became connected. So it's like, and if you look at, it's crazy how I always speak on art imitating life. How when you look at things like, I remember Captain Planet. I don't know if I don't know how old you all are, but Captain Planet, and each one of the Planeteers, each one of the Captain Planet people, whatever, they had a ring, and the ring was symbolic of earthly force. And when they all got together, they brought the planet together. And it was just cool because it just showed that how, so one guy was water, you know what I'm saying? And it's like one guy was fire. And it's like, he can do certain things with it. Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Shout out to September. That's my joint. But it was crazy how but once they got together and they became combined, it was always major. The Ninja Turtles. There's no clan that was ever weaker separate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you start considering who your clan is, you know, they were all strong individually, but they were stronger together. And I think when one thing that we have a tendency of doing is getting in a situation that make us weaker. So it's not utilizing our strength, and a part of that comes from, you know, I just refraining from doing what being in touch with your body, being in touch with, like, you know, again, you know what's good for you. You know you need to stay hydrated. You know you need to eat. You know you need rest. And all those things are the rings for Captain Planet. You know, your rest, your water, your food intake. Then you got other filters that we fail to realize. Your eyes and your ears are two filters, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it, you know.
Back to what you were saying, to reiterate about Captain Planet, you know, and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
You know, those characters, Earth, why I became a vegetarian. You know, I enjoy and feed my vessel some good energy, some nutrition,
right,
from the universe, from Earth. So then you got Fire, which we all need vitamin D, which is from the sun.
Damn, you taking me somewhere? Keep going.
And Wind.
Keep going.
Oxygen.
I wanted it. You know what, man? I need to get in contact with Earth, Wind, and Fire. See, is that what they was thinking about? Because why would they pick those three elements? Dang, that's crazy, man. I never looked at it that way. I mean, even with the idolatry, I mean, we look at the eyes, you know, the value. You know, a lot of people just say a dollar sign, but it's still symbolic of value. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the tree, quite naturally, it's from the earth, it's growth, and it's what keep us alive. Yeah. So it's like it's a multitude, the combination of elements put together, man. It allows us to have resources. So we use each element to, you know, have a resource. You know, you take the fire, and then, you know, you can use the fire, you can harness it, and you cook. You know what I'm saying? You take, you know, you take the air, you harness it, you got air conditioning. You know what I'm saying?
Wind power, you got solar, wind,
right, solar energy. You know, it's just so many. But that's a whole nother direction, though. You know, but I can feel that. That's cool. That's a good segue to intertwine all of those elements. So what's on your mind, man? What you got on your agenda? You know what I'm saying? What you wanna what you feeling? What you wanna speak on?
Even like you said, segue from what we were just talking about.
Right.
Spiritual awakening. You know, if we could use what we have, the resources that we have,
right, to
awakening to a better universe. You know, I always I forgot the guy who said it, but we talked about setting goals.
Right.
I like he told me to set themes. The guy I listened to, you know, what theme do you want in life? And you need to awaken to that. You need to start creating that theme. You know, instead of having a goal to lose 10 pounds, have a theme that, hey, you know, I got the body of an athlete.
Right.
I'm living the athlete, you know, world. This is my universe. This is what athletes wake up to. So that's how you need to wake up and live your life. You know, my theme, my theme is to, honestly, just to be free, man. Like I like doing what I do, and you know, like you said, what was it? Your pop said, if you enjoy what you do,
if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Work a day in your life, and that's part of being.
I
free.
get that vibe from you. I mean, you have a. Even though this is home to you, this is not home to you. You know, you have a commute to come down, and I'm just humbled from the fact of we can get together and do this, you know, once a week. I know we have a goal, a theme that we're trying to reach in reference to how we want our podcast to appear, how we want it to sound, the wave that we trying to not be on. So just in reference to just sounding similar or doing similar things, as everybody else, because it's not the fact that trying to be different. It's when you be you, you have no other choice but to be different.
Yeah, you do. And it's crazy that, you know, a lot of people who did become different, and a lot of the, you know, especially the smart, educated people, especially celebrities,
right,
who we look up to and we listen to for guidance, those people were looked as being different. Those people
right,
were looked as being crazy,
right.
insane. So I look at, you know, if someone calls me crazy, insane,
It's a compliment.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, I need to keep doing.
Let me stay on that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
If someone tells me I'm doing something wrong,
That's different.
it's because no, it's the same.
Well, in reference,
and it all depends on their reference.
Yeah, right.
If I'm smoking crack, I'm doing
right, okay.
I need to do better.
I didn't want it to come off because I understood what you were saying. I was like, yo, so that, man, like anything, because a lot of times I notice people do that. Like some people just love to play devil's advocate with everything. It's like if you say go left, they're gonna say go right. Just to be different. It's a difference. The difference in trying to be different is if you got to try to do it, it ain't natural.
Right.
You know, other than the only thing that you should try is applying more effort. That's the difference in trying, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so if whatever my theme is for what I want my life to appear to be, I need to put forth effort, try to do that. But if I'm just trying to be different, that's like a lack of identity, a lack of self-awareness. It's more so you saying it like I just got to do something different just to stand out. But you never fit in when you was meant to stand out. So when I live my regular life and when I do me, I stand out because I'm different, because I'm me. It's only one me.
And people notice that. Like
Agreed.
the crazy thing about it is
Agreed.
like whenever you try to fit in a crowd, people don't notice you.
I told him about the chameleon lose 3 days off his life every time he try to blend in.
Right.
And people about to die, man. Like it's scary.
Like, you don't become noticed, but if you're doing something different than what other people are doing,
right,
guess what? You definitely gonna be noticed. I notice every time I see a car that has a steering wheel on the right side.
Right, yeah. But you know what's even crazier though? Even when you doing something that everybody is doing, you still will be noticed if you doing it. Because you are not what you do. What you are is how you do it. Yeah. So it's like we get confused with what we're doing. Like I said, you know, like we spoke about last week when I was speaking in reference to when people ask you what you do. The first thing that a lot of times, the first thing that come to mind is what you do to make money. Back to the dollar. It goes to show how much is vested in just capitalism. You know, I'm like, so what you do? Oh, I take pictures. No, you don't. Like you more than that. I do a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you do? I cut hair. No, that's not what you do. Cause see, and it goes back to saying like even with value. How we were speaking about your rates and how they had a tendency to go up because as you elevate mentally, it sharpens your craft, so your craft becomes as close to flawless as you can get it. Because of that, it increases your value. When your value increases, you're harder to reach because everybody that may want you, but they can't touch it. They can't get to it.
Right, like you said, with my prices, and you know, I increased that because I'm increasing my value.
That's
so when my value increased, guess what? Also increasing your value.
It's reciprocated. I get it. I like that. And that's what I said. The first one I said I always like to be around people that make me grow. You know, and you always you grow where you planted it. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we try to grow in areas that our seeds ain't meant to germinate in them areas.
Look where I'm at.
You know what I'm saying?
From my first haircut was in that chair right
That's
there.
Crazy. That's crazy. And then you right.
My seed right here.
Right.
That's
tough.
It's hitting home right now.
That's tough.
This is fertile soil. Ancient grounds and stuff.
That's another thing, man. Fertilization, man. Tending to your crops. You know, being a good steward. You know, of what you've been afforded, the grace and mercy that you. All the talent that God bestowed upon you. If you're not it's the prime example. Okay, if I have a car and you need transportation, and I give you a car, when I give you the car, of course, it's not mine anymore, but it's meant for you to take care of it in order for that vehicle to keep getting you where you need to go. it goes the same thing with life. You know, this body is just a vehicle. You know, and you gotta tend to it. You gotta water it. You got it back to the earth, wind. I mean, yo, it's crazy how when any deep conversation, it's crazy how any conversation of substance always it's always full circle. You know what I'm saying? It's always full circle.
You gotta plant your seed. You know, if you want to grow, you gotta plant your seed and you gotta water it. You know, one of my favorite public speakers, Les Brown, he had a story about this guy planting a bamboo seed, and every day he watered it.
Right.
He kept watering it, and the neighbor's like, "What you doing?"
Right.
And like, you know, just watering my, you know,
right.
tree.
Right.
Like, where's it at? It ain't grown up yet.
Right.
You know? And years went by. He kept growing and everybody kept laughing at him.
Right.
But then this small little thing came out the ground into this big tall ass bamboo tree, and won't nobody talking then. Ain't nobody laughing then. That's why I say, you know, plant your seed. You know, whatever you want to do, plant your seed, plant multiple seeds. Because at the end of the day, you know, regardless of what soil you plant it on, you know, concrete jungle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can grow through cement. We grow through cement.
Right.
So if you put the effort into watering your seed, honing in on your craft.
Water. Oh, that's a good one. Water your seeds like it's gonna grow through concrete.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
water your seeds like with enough, and that goes to. And it's kind of crazy we were speaking in reference to that because in this day and age where we're in right now, we of course we're going through this whole COVID-19 thing still, and
I ain't going through it.
We were speaking in you know, the state of the world is affecting life as we know it, you know. And the reason why I say that is because I just made the rational decision to not allow my daughter to go back to school. And so when we speak about plant watering your seeds, so this up and coming school year, 2 of my kids will be homeschooled for the most part. I mean, it's virtual, but I'm still gonna have to be the facilitator and make sure everything goes well. So I think this is a day and age of taking that watering seeds whole situation like literal. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the smartest thing anybody could do, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for parents to homeschool their kids because, you know, instead of going through the customary school, you know, structure,
right?
You know, add and subtract and learn about this man. You know, we talked about history,
right?
You know, you teach your kids what they need to know to maneuver through this corrupt world, right? Because what they're learning the corrupt education. They're learning to become robots. They're learning to become that assembly line worker instead of hiring the assembly line worker. So what we need to do as adults is with our kids to start teaching them. You know, Dr. Umar Johnson, you know, got this school that he wants to create. I don't even know if it's created or not.
He got 2 of them, yeah. Frederick, one of them is Frederick Douglass. It's Frederick Douglass Academy, and then Marcus Garvey. Yeah. You know, he actually, not to cut you off, but he actually was trying to buy St. Paul's College in right down the road from us.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that was one of the places he was looking at trying to get an institution because he want to teach our history to our people.
Shout out to Dr. Umar.
Umar, my dude. He also was the first person I heard say that, and I heard him say this probably maybe about 2 or 3 years ago that in the next 10 years from the day that he said it, in the next 10 years it's not going to be any more public schools. And if you look at it in all actuality, it's an actuality. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's I
honestly think like the reason why, because they're telling parents right now that elementary and middle school
in my kids' district, K through 8, they want them to go back. 9 through 12, not. So my son is 10th grade this year, and my daughter is 5th grade this year. And so, you know, I was looking at, okay, so if my son JJ is not going back, I'm not gonna send Madison back either. I mean, it's a risk, however you look at it.
Right. But she gonna go into that environment and come back.
Right. And I was looking in Wake County, which is, you know, some of your stomping grounds, where when they did the survey and asking the parents if they want the child to go back, the majority of them said no. So because of that, now everybody's just doing straight. And I think that's what's going to pretty much happen eventually anyway, because I see some places going back to phase 1 and, you know, and neighboring states to us. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if we reverted back as well.
Yeah, like I honestly think, like, you know, I think they want the kids to go back because that's the brainwashing age.
Yeah.
I think the high school kids are already on their own.
You kind of know, because they didn't base that off their third grade test scores anyway, so they know which one's going to jail.
Right. Well, I'm taking your class.
That algorithm is crazy,
but
dog.
It's ridiculous, man. So I think that they want the next generation to stay in school so that they continue the brainwashing process.
I agree.
And the scariest part about brainwashing is unbrainwashing yourself. Like that to me is the most scariest part, the most scariest journey I've been on, even from being in wartime. Yeah. Because even war, like I started to realize, like, hey, I'm seeing reality, but the news ain't telling me. Right. You know, so waking up, literally waking up, spiritually waking up, going back to spiritual waking up from the norm, away from the norm, into my own reality, to my own theme, into my own universe is the most scariest and loneliest thing you can ever go through. But when you get accustomed to that, it
becomes normal.
Yeah, because you feel like the outsider when you're doing it, but then once you come out of that, you open your eyes, you know, you're breathing in that beautiful oxygen that the God's green earth has created for us. You start to realize everyone else is the weirdos. Y'all are not normal. I'm normal.
Shout out to my man Dave Ramsey. I listen to Dave Ramsey all the time, and he speak in reference to he's a financial guy, and he always speaks in reference to when people do things, he call them weird people. When they do things that everybody else is not doing, in reference to, because he's speaking in reference to cash is king, credit is dumb. He believe in being no debt, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so when people get up there and they always do a debt-free screen, and when they get up there to be like, you know, I done paid off this much money and I'm totally free of debt. He was like, I'm looking at weird people. He was like, oh, you got tired of being normal, right? And I'm like, and listening to that, you know, what I learned is it has nothing to do with money. It's all about discipline. Yeah. And if you can discipline yourself, why do you think that the guys that was with Christ was called disciples? Yeah. The root word in disciple is discipline. You know, to follow the truth. That's discipline. Mike Tyson, shout out to my man Mike. Mike Tyson, he said discipline is doing something that you hate to do like you love it. Yeah. And so your journey with the whole vegetarian situation, your journey with war, your journey with everything, it was like, it's more so, it's not even it's a discipline. It's your theme. You have a discipline theme, and your theme is always, and what you do is you take the same method and apply it to everything that you do in life, and you get the same results.
Well said.
Crazy is when you do the same thing looking for different results. Discipline is when you take that factor and implement it in anything you do, knowing it's gonna be better. Right. You know, they say, well, talent, hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard. Like, you know, you can't. Raw talent is like your source. That's what you're born with. That's what we were speaking about, the elements. But now the discipline is taking those elements and transforming them into a resource. That's why the word re is on it, because it's using the source over again.
Rewind. Come on.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, you want me to play it again? I'm going to rewind. You want me to get some more of that? I'm gonna reopen it. It's anytime you read anything is when you re-up. Talk to me, dealers.
With that being said, we're gonna do a quick refill.
That's cool. And I can do that.
I think
I like that.
We'll come back and
maybe allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yeah, we're gonna reintroduce ourselves again. Yeah, well, let's talk about dollars.
We can do that. We can do that.
Dollars. We'll be right back.
All right, peace.
Back on this live.
Idolatry the podcast in real time. You already know what's going on. We was having this little conversation outside of in the outtake. As I want to reiterate what what I was saying earlier that wasn't seen. How do you feel about money? How do you feel about the value of cash? What does it do to you? And because it's weird. I've been seeing that there's a change shortage. What is how much And I'm looking at there's a change as well. So how much is your change? What's the value of change for you?
I got bad memory, but I'm gonna try to talk on those three things.
Okay.
Got dollar and value and change. So
Yes.
the dollar right now, I listen to one of the smartest guys in the business, Robert Kiyosaki. He said that the dollar is losing value right now.
Mm.
So to transition to the uh, the value of the dollar to me, I honestly definitely think it's a great resource. I don't think the dollar is going anywhere, regardless if the price of $1 is only 50 cents, worth half its value. I still think that, we're already brainwashed and accustomed to thinking that the dollar is for
A dollar.
quarters.
Right.
So regardless of what the stock market is saying, we're still, Dollar Tree ain't going to lower its prices. Um, the the change shortage right now, I don't think there is a change shortage.
What you think is just not being
Now,
transferred as much?
change, speaking of coins,
Right.
I just think that it's just something extra to throw out there.
Because I was seeing where some local banks was, and that's another thing I wanted to ask you about too. I was like, if you could find a rate of silver or gold or whatever, and see if you could put some investments in that because, um, I was looking at online. It was showing where some financial institutions are actually paying you for change. And also, I was talking to a good friend of mine who's employed by a credit union, and he was saying like, they have a reserve, they have money in a reserve, and a lot of loans and stuff that right now because they can't call and collect due to the situation that's going on. A lot of people losing jobs, so a lot of loans have are bad, and that's a reason why they're not doing a lot of loans. So I was assuming that the change shortage, the alleged shortage of change, was coming from the fact of it not being utilized as much. Everything is monetized on a card now, and I'm looking at it like maybe that's the kind of society they want us to go into. That's the only way that they can always track what you do.
They definitely want to go to a cashless
Right,
society.
right.
I definitely wish I would have got into Bitcoin um, early
Nipsey,
on.
Nipsey was telling us
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
cryptocurrency.
He went overseas and invested
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
Yeah. So with this whole change shortage, like the way I look at it, I kind of look at the opposite of any type of pandemic. I try to look deeper into it. I try to figure out, okay, what if I'm looking at it from the inside out versus the
Right.
outside in?
Devil's advocate.
And I think the change shortage, the way the universe speaks to me, is that there's not a lot of people changing.
Mm.
So there is a change
See, that's
shortage.
what I was, yo, that's crazy you said that because I was like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, more so now, it's like, y'all just ain't changing.
Yeah,
So we gonna have to do it for you. That's why
it's a
this hit
mentality.
seemed so blunt. It seemed like it was like, all right, boom, now everything is going because it was like, oh, y'all ain't gonna change. Let me do it for you.
Right.
And then maybe
You
that's the
don't do
universe speaking to us. You know what I'm saying? It is a shortage of change. And people been dormant a long time. My Jigga, I'd rather die dormant than live dormant.
That's
That's
how
how
we
we on
doing
it. Live from the main event. I better trip to Maui on it. You know what I'm
it.
saying?
Telling
Like
you.
those visionaries don't ask for sight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
Visionaries don't
You're right.
ask for sight. You know what I'm saying? It's and it's a talent. It's like it's a gift. And the
Right
fact
now.
that you can see that far ahead, or when you have that intuition, and it goes back to being in tune with a higher. If you look at universe, right? You and I is always one, unicycle, uniform. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like it's unity. You know what I'm saying? Community. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
UNITY.
you. It's a unity. You already know. So it's like when you start dealing with the one, then it elevates again back to what I was saying. It's like it increases your ability to be able to tap into it whenever you need to. So what you will find, that's why a leader is normally always one person. It's always like normally it's one leader. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is that person in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is the king. You know what I'm saying? All you need is one eye when everybody blind, and that one eye is the third one. It ain't
That's
got
it.
nothing to do.
You know, the
Yeah,
crazy
they
thing
was
is
telling us this for
the
so
the
long.
first eye is the third eye.
That's what I'm. That's the only one. You know what
I'm
I'm
telling you,
saying? These
that's the pineal gland.
these
Right.
eyes are for direction in human form.
Yeah.
This eye is for direction after, and you get a glimpse of it. And if you know how to tap into it, and it takes practice. It's not something that you just constantly do. You know, we speak about psychics, we speak about ESP, extrasensory perception or whatever. And at the end of the day, a lot of us, I think we all have the ability to tap into it. I think we don't practice it long enough to do it. You
Yeah.
know, that's why a guy told me,
We're so distracted.
you know what?
It's a
That's
lot of
crazy.
distractions.
You know what? A guy told me something the other day when we was one of my customers. We were chopping it up, and I was like, we were talking about meditation, and I was like, you know how you do? You know the first way that most of us was taught to meditate. He was like, nah. I said, well, you go if you can't go to sleep. What's the first thing they tell you to do? Count sheep, right?
Hmm.
So you count sheep. That ain't. This is almost like being aware of your breath, and all it's doing is focusing your mind on one thing. I'm gonna count sheep. No, we do it off 99 bottles of beer on the wall to pass time because we
Yeah.
need to focus. You see what I'm saying? We knew how to
Meditation is
meditate
great.
a long time ago. We just didn't know what it was. We just didn't know the terminology for it.
You know, another form of meditation
What's
is
that?
prayer.
Agree. Yeah.
Prayer
See,
is
it's like
meditation, man.
all we ever, another form of meditation, sleep.
Sleep,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
meditation, a deep
It's
meditation at that.
right, right. And it's like, so at the end of the day, it's things that we all already know how to do, but once you give a name to it, it make it seem unattainable. So you're like, oh, now I gotta find out how to uh, silence my thoughts. No, you don't. Do what you know how to do. Go back to your origin.
Crazy thing about that, I was listening to a talk today about, you know, how to stop overthinking,
Mm-hmm.
and we all do that a lot. And one of the key points in there was a student who asked the teacher, and I'm not trying to use no Robert Kiyosaki, not Robert
Understood.
Kiyosaki, but no, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
Hey, speak your truth, babe.
the student asked, how asked the teacher, how do you know when you are, if I can get it right,
Talk your way
fuck,
through it.
I can't think of the question he asked, but he was basically saying, how do you know when your 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 mind is free,
Right.
something like that. And the teacher said, I know when I'm eating and I'm drinking, not alcohol, but just drinking.
Right. Right.
And what the teacher was getting at is like when everyone else is eating, you're either eating fast because you're in a rush to go do something,
Right. Right.
or you're eating and you're just constantly thinking about it.
Right.
You know, we had a saying in boot camp, when we didn't have a saying, but the drill instructors had a saying, eat the food, taste it later, because we
Mm.
got things to do.
Right. Right.
So hurry up. And
Right.
that's kind of
I
the
guess
mentality that a lot of people do
he
when
was
they're
saying be
eating and
present.
drink.
Be
Be
present.
present, and
Right.
eat slow, but also understand what you're eating. Taste the food.
Right.
Feel the texture of the food, and just kind of block everything out, because
Agreed.
what you're doing right now, I mean, in anything, it's going beyond that story now. What you're doing right now is what's important. You don't need to think about, what am I doing tomorrow? I don't even watch the weather
Not
anymore.
me either. Man,
I
yo.
don't watch the weather. I just adapt.
We so in tune. It's crazy because I'm the same way. When I get up, I do everything off feeling. Everything I do is literally off what I feel like is put in me. Like, so I don't watch the weather. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't. I'm not even in tune with the world. I'm in tune with the universe. So it's almost like it
Yeah,
dictates to me what I'm supposed to do. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. The universe will tell you how to maneuver, how to operate, how
Man,
like when people like when I get these calls and people looking for photos or
right,
videos or whatnot, I honestly don't ask them, how did you find me?
right,
Now, a lot of marketers out there will say, you should definitely should ask them, how they found you. Maybe it's a word of mouth. Maybe they found you online or something.
right.
But me, I just look at it as the universe. And if the universe puts you in front of me,
There's a reason.
then there is a reason.
Right, right.
There's a reason someone contacts me for do photos video.
It's
There's a
crazy.
reason why I didn't go fishing today, but I'll go fishing tomorrow. There's
Right.
always a reason. And when I get accustomed to that, as I became in tuned and started understanding that about the universe and life, I started realizing, well, if today is my last day, then guess what? That's it.
I was about to say that was all that was meant for me to do.
That's it.
That's my
That was
last
it.
episode. You
Like
know what I'm saying?
I plan for tomorrow,
Agreed.
but I don't look
I,
forward
I I
to
say the same thing. I say the same thing.
who
You
wants
keep it in.
who wants to wake up and go to work in the morning?
Right, man. You keep it in mind. Like it's always to me. Tomorrow's on the back burner.
Yeah, like
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
cross that
okay, I'm
bridge
I'm
when
gonna
I
keep
get
it
there.
warm and everything. If I do what I'm supposed to do today, then I know tomorrow gonna take care of itself.
Exactly. Tomorrow gonna always take care of itself, especially
But
if I'm doing today
the
good.
only people who is more concerned about tomorrow who is trying to supplement the future for right now, and they don't realize that the future only happens in the now. I read a book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and that's what he was talking about. He was like, if you don't give now, the only thing that you possess is now. That's why there's no such thing as time. It say in the Bible, Christ said, "I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and the end." It didn't say I was anything in between.
Right.
It just I am. When it and he also said, "Who do they say I am? I
Yeah.
am."
I
The
am.
some say you this, some say this. I Popeye.
I am.
Shout out to the cartoon Popeye. I am what I say I am.
If I wasn't, then why would I
Then when
say
I
I
was,
am?
I was about to shout out to Eminem too. You know what I'm saying? Which yo, it's crazy how you look at when you start to. It's just weird, man. When you become woke and how like life just look different.
Yeah.
You don't look at the trees the same as everybody else, and you
Yeah.
cool with that. You don't look at man. You start seeing beauty in other places.
Speaking on that, you think you can find heaven while living in hell?
I think they one and the same. Yeah, I think
I honestly think so.
yeah, me too. I think it's your perception. It's the Lord's prayer on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. See what people don't understand about daily bread? It's crazy. That goes back to exactly what we were saying. Okay,
Preach.
on earth as it is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread. And it was crazy because the Bible speaks about manna a lot, and it shows how you were only given enough for that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like you only given enough for this moment right here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like the next 5 minutes. We don't know what's gonna happen. With
That's
the
right.
next tonight, we don't know what's gonna happen. From the time that you and I part, God watches while we're absent from another. You know what I'm saying? When from the time that we part from each other, we don't know what's gonna happen. All we have is right now, our daily bread.
I always think about a comet, a big ass comet coming towards Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think about everybody panicking. I'm not going to panic. I'm gonna be the same people like the band playing on the Titanic when they
When
were
it's going
sinking.
down,
Be
that's
like, you
crazy.
know what?
Peace in the
This
middle of the
is it.
storm.
You're right. So guess
It's
what? I'm gonna
it's
just
crazy
tell
because
them.
not too long ago, matter of fact, It was a comet headed towards the Earth, and they said it was the size of like 6 school buses, and it was supposed to hit. But sometimes, some way, when it's breaking through the I forgot what belt they call it, and but the atmosphere kind of disintegrated by the time it hit the Earth. So, but I was thinking about that too, man. Just even looking at this whole school situation, how we were speaking about, and I'm just thinking like, man, I ain't bracing for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, like now, even with most things, like I don't, they say God don't give you a spirit of fear, right? I'm not going to say I don't have doubts. I'm not going to say it's times where I'm not, my fear isn't tested, but I don't really fear. You know what I'm saying? I don't, and my father had that, man. For some reason, I don't fear. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, man. Yesterday, right? Yesterday is normally our customer appreciation. July the 25th. Yesterday made 11 years since my mother passed.
R.I.P.
And yeah, rest in peace, Mom, man. And what's so crazy? What's so crazy is like,
You sent me that picture. I didn't mean to cut you off. You sent that picture of Lucid.
yeah,
Her mom,
yeah, Lucy. Yeah, you saw how that. I was like, I know she be talking. I was like, if I ever get a tattoo, that was gonna be the first tattoo, but I was gonna spell Lucid with a Y. But I know she be talking to me, dog, and it's like, and it's just weird how, and I think honestly, I think she speak through my daughter a lot, and it just be so crazy how I would have never thought, back to the power now. I would have never thought 11 years ago I would be able to live 11 years without my mother.
Right.
Like, you can't fathom those thoughts. Like, when people say, "Oh, what would happen if you can try to put yourself in it, but it never feel the same way. It's never the same." And so what I started doing is not giving any kind of strength to those thoughts. I just let it be.
Right.
I just let it be. There's times where I feel her presence heavy, and sometimes it'll get me emotional. But most of the time, when I feel her presence, is when I'm doing something that I know that she wanted me to do. Sometimes I feel like her. Sometimes I feel like my father. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's them. I know that that's the them in me. And I be wondering when my kids feel like me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
energy doesn't die. It only gets absorbed.
Agreed, because it's funny, because when I drove up, you looked just like your daddy. Just the way you was moving, I was like, man, that's Run all over.
Because I was in front of Supercut
2. Nah, it's weird. It's weird, man. They could put you in a room with like 20 other guys, and I don't know you, and let me interact with all 20 of y'all. Pause. But let me interact with you. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, yo, this is your son right here. It's just certain things that's undeniable.
Yeah.
Just like it's certain things that's undeniable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that energy, my mother's energy is not dead. My father's energy is not dead. And when you make the most of the now that you have with them, it never leave you. So it go back to that bond and that attachment situation. I'm not attached to my parents. I'm bonded with them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And that's why, like, I always think about, whenever I come to that, that brick wall in my life, because I know it's going to be heavy. It's going to be an obstacle to maneuver around. I don't think I'm going to cry, because they've given me so much.
Right.
That it is time for me
to let it go.
Right. And it is time for them to carry on.
You ain't hear what you said. Nah, see, I gotta stop. You ain't hear what you just said. You said when that time comes, it's time for me to let go, but it's time for them to carry on. Right. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. I honestly feel like that's a good thing. Like that. I remember. And I used to feel bad for saying this, but I felt good. I didn't cry. I cried at my father's funeral only because my Uncle Kenny sung that song, man. And shout out to Pop, man. And then I only cried at my mother's funeral because Miss Mary Hewitt sung it. And it was like, that's the only thing. It was just the memories. Mm-hmm. But I didn't cry. Like, I was like, I was so content. I took care of both of my parents on the end. I was so content with what I did for them, and I knew that they was happy with what I did.
Right.
And just to know, that what they say in the Bible, we say, Christ say, um, um, I'm well pleased, you know what I'm saying, with what you did or whatever. That's all I want. All I want, if they can, no, I'm telling you, if my
It's a
parents would come
cycle,
back and
man.
tell me like, man, you did a good job, and you living proof, I know that your parents are proud of you. So it's like right now, don't you literally living.
Right.
Again, we gonna
Like
reframe back to
this is
something I said. You
this is
literally living your best life right now.
yeah. Like this is they making. You know, they brought me to a certain level, and I just took it to the next.
It's like, but it's almost like when you looking at a recipe and you be like, man, I hope it tastes like the picture look. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like you like, oh, man, I
Right.
did my thing on this one. And he's like, you can cook the same thing over and over, but every now and then it seems like some of them times you just get it perfect. You be
Yeah.
like, yo, I want to do it exactly like this. It's always good, but
Mhm.
sometimes it seemed like it was just it was meant for the soul. You know what
Right.
I'm
And
saying?
that's speaking of the soul. That's why I look at birth and death kind of the same way,
They are.
because I look at it. I wasn't here, but my parents were here, and then I was born. My parents paved the way for me to have the life that I have today.
Right.
So if I mean, at the end of the day, the cycle, you're supposed to, take care of your parents. Their parents take care of you, and if your parents die before you, hopefully they pave the way for you in the
Right,
afterlife.
right, right.
But I mean, people, things happen, and no kids,
Shout out
do
to,
what they.
it's crazy you said that, you made me think of some. Shout out to my man Hook, man. Hook is a barber as well. We're gonna have to get him on the show too, especially in this setting. We're gonna have to get Hook. But Hook, he we was having this conversation, man, and real deep dude, man. And I remember him saying, I asked him, I was like, so I said, who do you pray to? He said, I talked to my ancestors. He said, because I feel like if they already gone and they on the other side, they got a closer connect to what I'm praying to anyway. So I talked to them and asked them to lead me in this life because
Yeah,
they didn't been here
they've
before.
been
And he said that's what. So I was like, when I think about that, I talk to my mother and my father a lot, and they talk back to me. It's crazy. Man, I'm gonna tell you. I know my daddy spoke to me the other day. I was I went to put some Freon in my car, and it's a high and a low side on the compressor. Now, when you try to put Freon in your car, you don't put it in from the high side, you put it on the low side, and
hmm
but they look the same. It's just set one high and one low, as above as it is
as
below.
it is. Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, man, it's all full circle.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So I go home. And I'm about to put some Freon in my car, but before I do it, I put the gauge on the low side to check if I have Freon in it. Now, when I put the gauge on it, it go all the way to warning. So that means that there's something wrong. Either it's too much in it, it need to be recharged, you need to let some out. Something is going wrong. So I was like, okay. But when I did it, um, I just happened to look over at my battery and I saw my post was like corroded. So I was like, man, this is a bad sign. Like having a corroded post, that's real bad. Like, and I'm like, and I didn't clean it. My daddy should have, man, take a Pepsi Cola or something, pour it on it, and it'll kill the corrosion. I didn't do it. Be just trying to be fast. So now I was taught what to
hmm
do, but I was like, okay, so I didn't do it. So I take the can of Freon and put it back in the car, put my gauge in the car, because I'm like, man, if it's going to warn or something must be wrong. So I come back to work. I'm sitting out in my car. Now my daddy loved Fords. My father's middle name is Henry, and he loved Fords, right? So it
Mm.
just so happened I drive past this Ford at this dealership, and I'm like, man, I don't even like Fords like that. Not I ain't Porsches or nothing, but I just saw a nice Ford pickup truck. And I was like, let me go online and look and see how much this thing costs. So I'm looking at the truck online. I'm looking at cars, and all of a sudden my car just cut off.
Come on.
My car just turned off. And I'm like, so I was like, okay, hold up. Now my car is on and it just turned off. So I pushed the gas, turned it, like it ain't working. I pushed the gas, I was like, man, I know this ain't God telling me I need to get another car. I was like, cause I really don't want to buy no car right now. Like I'm enjoying not, you know what I'm saying, having no payment. So I get out, but I know that when it click like that, most of the time it's the battery. So I'm already looking at if your car won't start, it's either gonna be your battery, your alternator, or the starter. 9 times out of 10, that's the first 3 points of contact you want to
Yep.
go with. And so I was like, well, but when it clicked, most of the time that's your battery. That's letting you know the starter is trying, but the battery ain't working. Go back to them 3 elements. Man, yo. Hey, shout out, hey, Dad, this you, man. This is you right here.
Pops right there
So,
talking to you,
I'm in my car already troubleshooting what's wrong with it before I go, the Firestone, and to tell them, So I go over there. My man was like, you need a jump. I was like, I don't know if it's the battery, the starter, or the alternator. I said, but I think it's the battery because it's clicking. He was like, man, I'm gonna go jumping, and I see they jump. He came back. He said, bro, you need a battery. I go back, right, and I listened to Joel Osteen. He was like, did you know that Henry Ford, Harvey, I think he's saying, I don't know what Firestone, I think he's saying Harry Firestone, and somebody that's all had vacation homes right beside each other.
Come on, man.
And I'm like, elevated man. I'm like, damn. So I'm thinking like, it's crazy because all them going. I'm like, if they build a 4th house up there, it's gonna be my daddy. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, it's crazy. I was like, I know that was him. And then I got all the way back to work. I was able to, I wasn't driving. I wasn't somewhere where I couldn't get in contact with somebody. But if you're not in tune, you don't see those signs. You don't hear when that intuition is speaking into your soul, dog.
It always speaks.
It always does. You just don't
gotta listen.
You know what?
Got to listen.
That's what the definition of confusion is, when the universe is talking to you and you trying to do something different. So anytime you feel confused, is because you're not listening to your intuition, and your intuition isn't governed by any kind of bias. So it's not like, oh, I can't listen to Dunn because he's a photographer, so he can't tell me nothing about how well I need to eat. It's like, it's knowing that everybody has the potential to be a gatekeeper. It's deal or no deal, man. It's like, what's behind those doors? You got to trust your fate, and that's what strengthens your faith. Because if you live long enough, you're gonna start realizing that everything that has happened to me made sense only when I look back at it. That's why 2020 is going to be the most, I'm telling you, this is not a prosperity thing. It's going to be the most influential change, the shortage, This is going to be the most influential change to your life. And with that said, you owe it to the world to be the highest form of you. If you don't, it's a disservice to God. A chameleon loses 3 days off his life every time he try to change colors just to blend in. As the caterpillar said to the butterfly, why did you change? The butterfly responded, because I'm supposed to, nigga. It's Idolatry, the podcast, in real time. Peace.